is a universal truth then.
Right. Universally, people instinctually know the difference between right and wrong.
Call it power of suggestion, call it placebo, call it whatever you choose to call it. But to me, I say you can't call that anything except miraculous. I also believe that you believe that religions suck because of all of the shit experience and shit people that you've experienced that did things in the name of religion and got really gross with
that person at arm's length in all ways.
Yeah.
Right. It's not so much a judgment of, oh, that's a bad person. And like a lot of perceived morality is fairly uniform from religion to religion. And I'm not speaking as some kind of an expert. Like, I know that a lot of the things that people use as a morality barometer you would find in, say, Christianity, you can also find in Eastern religions. You can find them all over the world. There's a lot of continuity in that space.
Mm-hmm. But that doesn't make it anything as far as like plagiarized or anything like that.
That's not what I'm insinuating.
Right. But to me, what that speaks is that there is a universal truth then.
Right. Universally, people instinctually know the difference between right and wrong.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't need a book necessarily to tell me that. However, I do chew up the meat and spit out the bones again.
Yeah. The question I was going to ask is why do you choose Christianity, or say, over Hinduism or Taoism or Islam?
Because when I was a kid, I hurt myself really bad. As being the petulant ADHD child that I was at my grandma's house and I had a pogo stick and I was smashing ants with the pogo stick that were on the driveway. And in doing that, I think there was like a big ant or something like that. And I grabbed the pogo stick and I stepped down on it to really squish him, right? And as the pogo stick came back up, it pinched on the fat of my thumb, on that muscle right there. And it was so bad that the whole thing turned into a blood blister, right? And I run inside screaming. Like literally the pogo stick was stuck to my hand. I had to step on it to bring it back down, right? And I run inside screaming, and my grandma's freaking out trying to figure out what's going on. And I pinched my hand. And she grabs a bag of ice and she grabs a towel and she puts the bag of ice in my hand and she wraps my hand around the towel. I have no idea why we're wrapping the hand with a towel, but she does it. And she sits down with me and she starts praying over my hand. And she goes, just close your eyes and pray with me. And when I closed my eyes, I saw Jesus walking down this hill. And it's actually a real hill that I know of. It's in Colorado. And he's come walking down this hill, and I see him, flowing robes, all that. And I go running towards him. And then it kind of cut scene to, I'm standing directly in front of him. And I'm looking up at him, and I fell down to my feet. And I said, Jesus, I give my life to you. And he said, and I give mine to you. He placed his hand on my head, bright white light. Pain immediately goes away. I pull my hand out, the entire blood blister is gone. Call it power of suggestion, call it placebo, call it whatever you choose to call it. But to me, I say you can't call that anything except miraculous. Miracle-less. It was miraculous. This was a wild situation that science cannot explain. When have they ever proved that placebo could remove all the blood from... I got a blood blister on my thumb right now. If only I could heal it to prove to the world. And then I've healed other creatures as well through prayer. I say creatures because it was a dog. I burned my hand so bad that I was looking at disfigurement because I would not be able to lift my fingers more than that. Again, my grandma prayed over it, and it all went away. These are just things that, in the name of Christ, miracles have been performed. And that's why when people say, like, oh, do you have faith? And I'm like, no, I have knowledge. Now, even having solid knowledge where I'm like, no, I know that there's an afterlife. I know that Christ is the way to that afterlife. I still end up with this sense of allowing error, allowing the devil to come into my mind and go, but what if it's not real? What if you just die and the light shut off? Well, okay, then the light shut off. I'm not going to have an opinion on it. But if at the end of all this, I've lived a moral life and the lights do shut off, that's not a bad life to live.
Agree. Why do you think you saw Jesus in that moment flowing white robes instead of Krishna or Muhammad?
Because I'd say that there's two ways that could be answered. Either one, because it is Christ and Christ is real, which is my knowledge of the situation.
Your experience, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, again, it's my experience of it, and it doesn't matter who you attribute a name to, or what their face looks like, or what gender they are, what skin tone they have. It doesn't matter. What matters is love and morality.
Do you think that all three of those are representative of the same concepts and ideas?
Krishna, Buddha, and Christ?
I didn't say Buddha, but we can add Buddha. I mean, that's the
Who
whole
did
point.
you say?
Muhammad.
Muhammad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we had all of these, because you're saying, I don't care what they look like, that has no bearing. The thing is, I think that it's not so much what they look like. They, of course, would look different because of different religions, different cultures.
Right.
But if they don't represent the same thing, then does that, what you just said, still apply?
Well, okay, so to address the first question, I know Abrahamic religions far more than I know Eastern religion. But from what I do know about the Beatles is that...
Nice.
Oh, thank you. Hare Krishna was very much about love and peace. And I would say so was Buddha, and I would say so is Muhammad, if Muhammad is God, because they're Abrahamic religions. Now, again, the perversion of man to distort things is something completely different. But do I believe that all religion could be summed up with the concepts of love? Yes, unless you're an anti-religion. Luciferians obviously are choosing to go dark. They're choosing to take the wrong path, or, the opposite of what this God stuff is. And it's like, well, then that means that if you believe in Lucifer, then you believe in God. And you're choosing darkness. You're choosing to go down a dark path. And that's giving away your soul to me. And so if that's the route that you choose, then that's the route that you'll take, right? So unless it's some specific religion that was designed in order to be counterculture to something else, then yeah, I believe all religions are rooted in the fact of love. And so I don't care what you call God. For me, this is the path that I believe. And you've never once heard me go, oh, well, yeah, but Brandon, if you want to go to heaven, right? And I know that you have bones to pick with religion. And if I felt that you were satanic, I would not be in business with you. I would not be doing a podcast with you. And I likely wouldn't allow you in my home, because this is a place of peace and love, right? And so for me, it's never been a concern about that with you. I do believe that you believe in a higher power. I also believe that you believe that religions suck because of all of the shit experience and shit people that you've experienced that did things in the name of religion and got really gross with it. And these are not because you've told me this. It's because I've paid attention as we've discussed these things. And at one point, I'm sure you remember, I sent you a text message that was like, if you had the opportunity to sell your soul for fortune and fame with this podcast, will you do it?
And I said,
absolutely not. And that's like, I can move forward with that.
well, I'm glad you think that I'm not a demon.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Me too.
I also think I'm not a demon. However, I feel like I think that if a lot of people that might be demons might not think they're demons. Maybe they think they are. I don't know. Never really thought about that. So,
but I've seen the way that you operate with your children. I've seen the way that you operate with my girlfriend's child. I've seen the way that you do right by people, and I immensely respect your ethics and your morality. And I don't give a shit if there is some God that you call your God or not, because at the end of the day, I can literally work with someone who has those ethics and moralities. And so it's never been a concern of mine. Now, have I always wanted to be a shining example of what a good Christian could be and show you what my morality and ethics do, so that maybe you go, you know what, maybe there's something to this JC guy? Then yeah, absolutely. But I think that that's what people should be doing, instead of, and you will go to hell if you don't do the things I say.
But don't you think that that's what those people think they're doing? They're being that shining example by doing exactly the thing that you just did?
I think they're being a shining example for their church and not for a good spokesperson of Christianity.
I don't disagree with that. But the point is it's subjective from person to person, right?
Sure, yeah. Sure. And forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do.
I feel like I don't have to forgive them. I just also don't have to acknowledge them. Like I think that's, to my point, is cool if that's how people want to show up and they think that that's what being a good Christian or religious person is, and that's how they want to show up. I think it's gross, and I'm not going to participate. Right. I don't have to have any energy beyond that, other than that's just not how I want to participate.
But if I may, I said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Not forgive them, Brandon.
Sure.
Omnipotent.
Yeah.
Person having an experience.
Right.
Might last 110 years.
You're talking about omnipotent. I'm not.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm saying that's for God to forgive them of.
I'm
not of you.
Saying that I have to forgive them. I'm not
right.
that I do. I'm saying I don't
yeah.
have any energy beyond I disagree. That's not about forgiveness. Disagreement and forgiveness are two completely different things.
Right.
I just disagree. So that's fine. They can behave that way. That's not a forgiveness.
Right. And that's what I'm saying, is that I don't expect you to forgive anyone. I don't expect you to judge someone harshly or kindly or anything. I think that you have had 40-something years of experiences on this earth that have culminated to where when you see something, you formulate an opinion, just like I have. Mm-hmm. And all of those things have happened for a reason that have now brought you to sitting in front of me right in this moment to think about this conversation the way that you're thinking about it in this moment. And so we're just living with these blinders on. We are existing for our little tiny amount of time that we get on a grand scheme of things. And so it's not for us to judge. It's not for us to be this way or that. And so that's why I was saying, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, quoting Christ on the cross when they shoved the spear into his ribs.
We know the story, yeah.
Not all of us, but more than likely somebody who's listening to this because they see that discusses religion. However, like maybe we're going to get some global reach.
States, yeah, I feel like most people in Western society, Western cultures know it.
But the whole point to that I'm getting at is that I don't think it matters whether or not you forgive people for being gross. I don't think it's going to change your trajectory in life or the afterlife. And so I don't have any energy on it either, or the amount of energy that you have on it.
I think that you are postulating that I have a lot of energy on it. I'm
I
saying
don't.
that when somebody in that position is behaving in that way, it's okay. I just disagree with it. It's not a
Yeah.
judgment. It's not energy. It's, oh, that's not for me.
Right.
Just the same way if I'm standing in line at the bank and somebody is having a temper tantrum about their interaction, like, okay, it's immature. I don't agree with it. Nobody's getting hurt. It's wasting my time. But outside of that, I don't have any energy on it. I just know
Right.
that I'm going to keep that person at arm's length in all ways.
Yeah.
Right. It's not so much a judgment of, oh, that's a bad person and everything that comes to follow that. It's I am neutral to that person. That's not
Right.
something that I want.
So for me, I'm looking at it from a lens of, if there's a local mom and pop shop, right? Like where we go get sandwiches, right? And you go in somewhere.
Can we say the name of the sandwich shop? It's so good.
I don't want to give away our spots so that people start showing up there to meet us, which sucks because I love those people and I want to give that gal business. However, for example, if there is I do CrossFit, right? My gym closed down. If somebody was a coach wearing a coach shirt, CrossFit such and such on it, like naming the gym or the box, right? And it says coach on their back, and they're in a Walmart or, like you said, a bank, and they're going, "You scumbag, blah, blah, blah." And there's a person there crying or what have you, and they're just not laying up and they're laying into this person, or they say something racist, or they make some really gross joke about children or what have you. If they do something gross and offensive, I believe that you're going to view that specific brand differently.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
And that's the energy that I think you have on religion. That's all.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
I don't think you have some like, I'm going to punch every Christian I
Oh,
meet.
no.
You know.
Not a chance. No.
Right. And everything I know about you is being stoic and level-headed and dare I say, brilliant. And so just last night, Talisha and I were talking about, how we don't go outside of our relationship to like badmouth the other one. And I go, no, however, full transparency, and you already know this, I talked to Brandon about our relationship, but it's not a this F and B, blah, 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 blah. It's
not bad mouthing.
Right.
It's not gossip.
And I just go, this is what I'm dealing with right now. What's your take on it, brother?
And I've done the same with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And we just kind of help each other in a positive way and counsel each other and etc. And there's a huge difference between those two.
Oh, I agree.
And even in this conversation, I'm feeling a sense of growth because, again, I'm still continuing down my short little time on earth to learn things and grow.
Sure.
And I don't have all the answers, and I won't.
I think it's important to continue these kinds of conversations because it's an opportunity to stay sharp with what I think and why.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also an opportunity to have holes poked in a structure or belief system that I might carry and take with me. If I'm not willing to have these kinds of conversations, then where's the growth? What happens? I don't like the idea of this is what I think, this is why, and that's the end.
Right. End all be all.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to be admittedly very set in some of my ways and why I think the way that I do. However, somebody smarter than me comes along and makes a good point. Okay, subject to change.
Right.
All of it. I'm okay with being wrong. There's a long time I wasn't. And for the last few years, the more that I have accepted opportunities to be wrong and consider somebody else's ideas, and not just anybody just because they open their mouth.
Right.
It ultimately people who are able to verbalize why they think the way that they think, and they have won't necessarily even say authority on the matter, but they just are concise about what they think and why. I'm going to listen to that person. I'm going to chew on that and think about it.
Yeah. And it's important to learn from people that have lived experiences that you might not have. And like, that's the reason that we get along so well. The reason that we are sitting opposite each other, talking into microphones on camera, is because we're able to disagree, but we do it in a healthy way. That I know many times we have both humbled the other and just been like, oh, good point. Didn't see that. All right, moving on. And we become better humans and better men because we are open to feedback. And a lot of times we preface with, are you open to some feedback on that? Because then if I hit you with a just straight gut punch, you can't go, he was being insulting or something, critiquing me when I didn't ask for it.
It's not malicious.
Right. It's because I love you as a brother. I want you to do better in life. And if I have any ability to go, hey, here's an angle that you might not have looked through this lens, and it might change things, then of course I'm obligated as someone who wants you to get the best out of life to give you that, hey, look through camera too. I'm sure you've probably heard people talking about peptides. It piqued your interest, you looked into it, but you don't know what source to trust. A lot of this stuff is coming out of China. If you're looking for a good quality peptide that's made in the United States, go to helixpure.com.